Alright, I'm going to try and make this video nice and quick and to the point. This is going to be a review of our second study guide reviewing area for 6th grade. This is just going to be a 10-question study guide that we did. Question 1, Ghazi cut a rectangle into 2 pieces as shown below, and it asks what is the area of that rectangle. Or sorry, what is the area of that triangle? Area of any triangle is going to have an area equal to the base times the height divided by 2. The base is 10 centimeters, the height is 16. So you will do 10 times 16 and you will divide that by 2. 10 times 16 gives you 160. If you divide that by 2, you get your answer of 80 centimeters squared. That's going to be the answer to number 1. Let's see now. For number 2, question number 2, forgot to switch to the clicker mode. For number 2, I know that's not what it's called, but number 2, we've got area of a trapezoid in this image shown below. There are several different ways you can go about doing this. I've heard students say that they found area of the entire shape of a rectangle and cut out the 2 triangle pieces on the end. That would work. I've heard some students say that they cut it into 2 triangles, found the 2 ends, and then found the square in the middle. That is acceptable. There are a lot of different ways to go about doing this. I'm going to show you just 2 of them. One option, the area of the entire shape, and then taking out the 2 triangles. The area of the whole shape, you have 2 triangles on the end that have bases of 2 centimeters. The base of the rectangle is going to be 8. The height is 4. 8 times 4 gives you an area of 32, but that's not going to be our correct answer at all. You still have to find and take out the area of these 2 triangles. Each triangle has a base of 2 and a height of 4. 2 times 4 gives you 8. Divided by 2 is going to give you an area of 4 for each triangle. So you do 32 minus 4 for this triangle and minus 4 for this triangle. That's going to give you an area of 24 if you did it this way. That's not the only way to get the correct answer though. You could, for this problem instead, my personal favorite when finding area of a triangle is to cut it into 2 triangles. So I draw one diagonal line, and that separates your trapezoid into 2 equal triangles. Let me see if I can use this line tool to make a cleaner line. There we go. So we have 2 triangles. I will color code this one in red, and I'm going to color code a different one in a shade of blue. My other rectangle or triangle is going to be right here, and it's going to be in blue. They do share a line, but that's okay. They overlap. Now, for this red triangle, we have a base of 4 centimeters, and our height is going to be 4 centimeters. We can use that 4 on the end because we can see it is clearly the height of that red triangle, even though it is slanted. So this triangle will have an area of 4 times 4 divided by 2, which gives me an area of 8 centimeters squared for that triangle. This blue triangle, a little bit trickier. We know that the length of this middle section from here to here is 4 centimeters. We know that this section on the end is 2 centimeters, and we also can piece together that this section is 2 centimeters. The entire base of that triangle is going to be a base of 8. So we can use the base of that triangle, 8 centimeters, times the height, which we know it to be 4 centimeters, and do 8 times 4 divided by 2. 8 times 4, of course, is 32. Divided by 2 is 16. Adding these 2 amounts is still going to get you 24. It doesn't matter which way you chose to solve number 2. Either one is going to work, and both will get you the correct answer. So let me go ahead and clear all of this off of the screen. Quickest way, unfortunately, is just going to be to click undo 1,000 times because this recording software doesn't have a better way. Wasn't really designed to annotate on the screen. Number 3, Timmy's new logo for a surfing club is printed below. Here are the dimensions. What is the area in square centimeters of this logo? So for this one, it's too big for me to show all the answer choices, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this as though it was an open choice. For this one, the base of these triangles, they are the same dimensions, by the way. The base of the triangles are going to be 8 centimeters, and the height is 9. Area of a triangle, 8 times 9 is going to be 72, divided by 2, because it is a triangle, is going to give me an area of 36 square centimeters for both of them. Now, the rectangle is the trickier part. The height we can gauge is going to be 8 centimeters because of that helpful line in the middle. The width is going to be a bit harder, or the base of the rectangle. We can see that this section right here is going to be equal to 8 centimeters. We can see that this section is also equal to 8 centimeters. And if you look down below there, right around here, you can see that this line, the line that shares this triangle, is 8 centimeters. Well, if both of those triangles are the same, we know that this small section is going to be 8 centimeters. If you combine all three of these sections, you'll find that the entire width of the whole rectangle is supposed to be 24 centimeters. This whole length right here is supposed to be 24. And the height, we already said, is 8. To find the area of that rectangle, we're going to have to multiply these two amounts. So we do 24 times 8. This is just a rectangle, so you're just going to multiply straight across, and that's going to give you 192. And that's just the rectangle part. You also still have to add 192 plus 36 plus 36. You have to add all of those amounts together. Let me double check what the answer key was, just to make sure. All right. The answer to this one was 264 centimeters squared. That was the answer for this problem. Moving right along, after I clear everything off of the screen again. There's got to be a better way to do this. I don't know what it is, but moving on, number 4. Trapezoid. I know I'm going to cut this into 2 shapes, 2 triangles, just like that. Triangle on top, triangle on the bottom. My top triangle has a base of 3 and it has a height of 2. So I know 3 times 2 divided by 2. 3 times 2 is 6, divided by 2 is 3. The triangle down below is going to have a base of 4 and a height of, again, 2. 4 times 2 is 8, divided by 2 gives me 4. 3 plus 4 gives me 7. That's how number 4 was supposed to be done. And that's why I prefer cutting a trapezoid into 2 triangles. Less work than cutting it into 2 triangles and a rectangle. Number 5, solved exactly the same way. Cut it into 2 triangles. That was a terrible line. I'm not even going to let that stand. 2 triangles. One triangle is 7 by 8. 7 times 8 is 56. Divided by 2 is 28 for this top triangle. This bottom triangle is 17 times 8 divided by 2. So 17 times 8 divided by 2 gives you an area of 68. 68 plus 28 is going to give you an area of 96 centimeters, or 96 units squared. It doesn't tell us what units, so we'll just say 76, or 96. For number 6, this is an example of why you are going to need this beyond just 6th grade. If you ever own a home and plan on reflooring, or particularly in this example, they're using tiles, it's going to cost you a nice premium to have somebody come out to your house and measure everything for you and then lay the tiles. If you're more of a do-it-yourself person, you can save a lot of money by just doing the measurements yourself and buying exactly the right amount of tile. Do-it-yourself is always a lot cheaper than hiring somebody else. Anyways, they want to tile these 2 rooms, the breakfast area and kitchen. Trouble is they need to know the area to know how much tile they have. Each tile is going to be $1.29. So the area of the breakfast area is going to be 10 feet times 10 feet. That's 100. Area of the kitchen is 14 feet times 10 feet. It's going to be 140 feet. If you combine these two amounts, you get 240. 240 obviously is not an answer choice. So for this one, it doesn't explicitly, it tells us here, each tile covers 1 square foot. So 1 square foot, 1 tile. So we take 240 square feet and we're going to multiply that by the amount it costs for each tile. So we do that times $1.29. Your calculator might tell you it is 309.6. That's because your calculators are stupid. Your calculators don't know that there's supposed to be a 0 there at the end because you're dealing with money. Whenever you deal with money, it doesn't matter. You use 2 decimal places, not 1. So $309.60. That's it for this problem. We're going to go on to the next one once all that is cleared. For number 7, nice and simple, asking you the area of a parallelogram. A parallelogram, the area is just going to be base times height. Base, height, 12 times 14, that's it. It's 168. No complicated cutting, no extra steps, just base times height. Number 8, a little bit more complicated, and it does have a trick in it. This 5 up here, we can cross out. It's a diagonal line. We are not going to use that for area. Diagonal lines can be helpful, and at higher levels of math, such as 8th grade, when we learn about Pythagorean theorem, you can use it to find area, but at this stage, we don't want to deal with diagonals. The bottom rectangle is going to be 8 times 5 for the area of the rectangle. That's going to be 40. For that triangle up top, though, this triangle has a base of 8. You can tell by looking at the bottom of the rectangle. And the height is going to be 3. They were kind enough to show us that imaginary line right there. So we have a base of 8 and a height of 3. 8 times 3 is 24. Divided by 2, because it's a triangle, is going to give me an area of 12 for that. 40 plus 12, 52 centimeters squared. If you forget to divide by 2, that is an answer choice. Don't fall for it. Moving on, only 2 problems left to go now. Number 9. Each vertex of the polygon is shown below and it forms a right angle. The side measurements are given in inches. What's the area of the figure? There are several different choices you have to cut this shape up. I'm going to make a recommendation for this one. Looking at these numbers, I would cut it with 2 vertical lines here and here. The reason I'm going to do that is I can see already that it tells me the height of this tall rectangle here, and it gives me the section I would need to cut out right here in inches as well. So that's why I'm going to make that call, but you could do this cutting it going side to side with a horizontal line. The tall rectangle, like I mentioned, it is 17 inches by 8.5 inches. So if you do 17 times 8.5, that gets you 144.5. This rectangle off to the side on the right, that has a base and height of 11 and 13. If you do 11 times 13, you get 143 for the side rectangle. Now, this middle rectangle is going to have a base of 16.5. That's what I like about this, cutting it this way, is I can see this line already is 16.5, but we need to figure out the height. As I mentioned at the start, we know that the entire shape is going to be 17.5 inches tall, but we also know the section we need to cut out is going to be 9 inches. So if you do 17 inches minus 9 inches, you're going to end up with 8 inches for the height. To find the area of that middle rectangle, you're going to do 16 times 5, or excuse me, 16.5 times 8 to get 132 for the area of that middle rectangle. The final step is to add those three sections together. So 144.5 plus 132 plus 143, that's going to give you an area of 419.5 inches squared. That's how you're going to do that problem. We're going to go ahead and clear this off and move on to question number 10. Question 10. There is a clear, easy way to cut this problem up, and that is going to be with a horizontal line. If you were to cut this shape with a vertical line, you would have to do a little bit of extra work to figure out how wide only this section is and how tall this section is. By cutting it with a horizontal line, it already tells you the base and height of this bottom rectangle. That is going to be 3 by 14, and it tells you this top one is going to be 9 by 4. 9 by 4 up top is going to give you an area of 36, and the one down below is going to give you an area of 52. 52 plus 36, 78 feet squared. And that's it. That is the whole entire study guide, questions 1 through 10. I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that you are able to gain some knowledge from this. Keep in mind, these are not going to be the same questions you're going to see tomorrow. Also, you should know you're not going to have that same time restriction tomorrow. If you need the whole class time to work on it, you'll have the whole class time, so don't stress about that. On the test tomorrow, you can use your notes. You can use your any notes that you took on the study guide while watching it. You can use that. You can use a calculator. Basically, the only thing you can't use is me. You cannot actually ask me a question during the test. And that's all. Good luck.